For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council ruled the stars. No empire questioned its authority. No civilization dared challenge its fleets. Then, they made one mistake. They threatened Earth. The Council expected humanity to surrender. Instead, exactly 12 minutes later, every Council flagship, every orbital fortress, every command station disappeared, not destroyed by a larger fleet, not by a superweapon, but by something the Council had forgotten. A promise, made billions of years ago. As panic spread across the galaxy, one ancient message appeared on every surviving screen. Guardian Protocol activated. Humanity is under protection, and in that moment, the most powerful government in the galaxy realized they had just declared war on the one species they were never supposed to touch. The Galactic Council had ruled for over 10,000 years. Its word was law. Entire civilizations disappeared with a single vote when humanity expanded beyond its first 20 colonies. The Council became nervous, not because humans possessed the strongest weapons, but because humanity refused to obey. Trade restrictions failed, political pressure failed, economic sanctions failed. Finally, the Council voted for an ultimatum. A fleet of 12,000 warships arrived above Earth. The chairman stood before every broadcast camera in the galaxy. His voice echoed across millions of worlds. People of Earth, you have 12 minutes. Surrender your independent military. Accept permanent Council oversight, or your civilization will be removed. Across Earth, there was no panic, no emergency evacuation, no desperate negotiations. Instead, a single encrypted transmission left Earth. It wasn't sent to another fleet. It wasn't sent to another government. It was sent beyond the edge of known space. Its message contained only 4 words. Guardian Protocol. Earth threatened. For 11 minutes, nothing happened. The Council smiled. They believed humanity had finally accepted defeat. Then, at exactly 12 minutes, every Council communication system shut down. Stars themselves seemed to bend. The space behind the moon opened. Something ancient had answered Earth's call. The countdown reached 0 for 1 heartbeat. Nothing happened? The chairman smiled. So this is humanity's final answer? Before anyone could celebrate, every star around Earth suddenly disappeared. Not because they went dark, because something enormous blocked their light. Behind the moon, space itself cracked open. 1, 10, 100. Then thousands of colossal warships slowly emerged. Each vessel dwarfed the Council's largest flagship. Their dark metallic hulls carried ancient blue symbols that no modern civilization could translate. The Council's AI instantly searched its historical archives. Every database returned the same result. Classification forbidden. Access denied. Panic spread across the command bridge. The chairman shouted, "Identify those ships." The AI hesitated, then answered with a voice it had never used before. Guardian Fleet? Pre-galactic civilization. Threat level, absolute. Silence consumed the bridge. On Earth, Captain Elena Carter calmly watched the ancient fleet appear. She showed no surprise. A young officer whispered, "You knew they would come?" Elena nodded. "My grandfather told me, if Earth was ever threatened, the Guardians would keep their promise." No one had believed the old story until today. Across the Guardian Armada, not a single weapon fired, not a single formation changed. Then, the lead ship transmitted one sentence to every screen in the galaxy. "You have threatened humanity. Explain yourselves." The chairman laughed nervously. "They're bluffing. We still outnumber them." Before he finished speaking, one Guardian ship quietly rotated. A beam of blue light crossed space. No explosion, no sound. The Council's largest flagship simply vanished, not damaged, not destroyed, erased. Every sensor confirmed the impossible. The ship had never existed. The chairman's face turned pale. He finally understood. Humanity hadn't called an ally, they had awakened. Their protectors. The galaxy fell silent. The destruction of the Council flagship had lasted less than a second. No explosion, no debris, no survivors. It was as if the ship had been erased from history itself. Then, the Guardian flagship transmitted another message. This time, it wasn't a warning, it was a memory. Across every screen in the galaxy, an ancient recording appeared. The image showed a young Earth, no cities, no oceans filled with ships, no humanity, only a small blue world orbiting a newborn sun, standing beside it. Were the Guardians? Thousands of colossal vessels surrounded the solar system. One Guardian placed a glowing hand toward Earth. A deep voice echoed across space. This world shall remain under our protection, until its children learn to protect themselves. The recording ended. Every member of the Galactic Council stared in disbelief. The promise had been made, long before the first human had ever walked the Earth. Chairman Varek slowly whispered, "So humanity was protected before it even existed?" No one answered, because everyone already knew the truth. Earth had never been an ordinary planet. It had always been under ancient protection. Captain Elena Carter received a direct transmission. The Guardian commander appeared on her bridge. Its glowing blue eyes showed neither anger nor pride, only duty. We fulfilled our oath. But the Council has violated the First Covenant. What is the First Covenant? The Guardian answered, "No civilization may threaten Earth, not while the Guardians endure." At that exact moment, emergency alarms echoed across the Galactic Council. Long-range sensors detected something impossible. The rest of the Guardian fleet had not yet arrived. What surrounded Earth was only the advance escort. Beyond the edge of the galaxy, millions more Guardian warships were entering known space. The chairman's hands began to tremble. He whispered one final sentence. "We've declared war against the oldest civilization in existence." Within minutes, every observatory in the galaxy reported the same impossible discovery. Guardian fleets were appearing everywhere, not invading, positioning, above every council fortress, every military shipyard, every orbital command station. Ancient blue-gold vessels silently emerged from hyperspace. No alarms were triggered, no defensive systems activated, because every modern weapon recognized the same authority. Higher command detected. Inside Deep Space Orbital Command, engineers desperately attempted to restore control. Nothing responded. Missiles refused to launch. Defense satellites powered down. Even the station's artificial intelligence quietly announced, "Guardian authority confirmed. Council command suspended." Chairman Varex slowly lowered his head. For thousands of years, the Council believed they ruled the galaxy. Now they understood the truth. They had merely governed. While the Guardians watched, a transmission reached every civilization. The Guardian commander stood before billions of viewers. "We have no desire to rule. We have no desire to conquer. We existed only for one purpose: to ensure that young civilizations had the chance to choose their own future." The words echoed across the stars. Even humanity listened in silence. Captain Elena Carter stepped onto Earth's orbital command deck. She asked the question everyone was thinking. "If you've always been here, why reveal yourselves now?" The Guardian commander looked toward Earth. For millions of years, humanity solved conflicts without asking us to fight. You protected others, long before you needed protection yourselves. You have earned your independence. Suddenly, a frightened council officer interrupted the broadcast. "Commander, we're detecting another fleet." Everyone looked toward the outer edge of the galaxy. The sensors showed something impossible. It wasn't another Guardian fleet. It wasn't the Council. It wasn't human. An enormous black armada, 10 times larger than the Guardians, was entering the galaxy. The Guardian commander's expression changed for the first time. He quietly whispered, "Impossible." They found Earth. Across every command bridge, silence fell. Because if even the Guardians were afraid, then whatever had just arrived was older and far more dangerous. The entire galaxy watched as the Black Fleet crossed the edge of known space. Unlike the Guardians, these ships carried no glowing symbols, no identification, no communication signals, only silence. Even light seemed to disappear around them, one by one. Guardian admirals reported the same impossible reading. Unknown energy signature. No biological life detected. No known technology matches. Captain Elena Carter looked toward the Guardian commander. You know who they are. The ancient Guardian remained silent. Then, for the first time since arriving at Earth, he lowered his head. We hoped they would never find this galaxy. Across the council chamber, every historian turned pale. One ancient archive unlocked automatically. Its title appeared across every screen. The Exiles. Classification. Creator-level threat. The Guardian commander finally spoke. Billions of years ago, they stood beside us. They helped build civilizations. But they believed life should obey its creators. When we refused, the First War began. Entire galaxies burned. The Exiles disappeared beyond the edge of creation. The Guardians believed they had won. They were wrong. The Exiles hadn't been destroyed. They had been waiting, growing stronger, searching for one thing: Earth. Suddenly, a transmission pierced every communication system. A towering figure appeared. Its armor was black as empty space. Its eyes burned with crimson light. Its voice echoed across the galaxy. So, the Guardians still hide behind humanity. Captain Elena stepped forward. We're not hiding. We're standing together. The mysterious figure smiled. Excellent. Then you will all fall together. At that exact moment, the stars behind the Exile fleet disappeared. Not because of darkness, but because something unimaginably larger was emerging behind them. Even the Exiles slowly turned around. For the first time, they looked afraid. The Guardian commander whispered only two words. The architects, the true rulers of the cosmos, had finally arrived. The battlefield froze. Guardian fleet stopped firing. The Exile armada stopped advancing. Even the Galactic Council forgot to breathe. From beyond the darkness, they appeared, not inside ships, not through hyperspace. Reality itself bent around them. Each architect was larger than moons. Their bodies weren't made of metal or flesh. Entire galaxies revolved within their translucent forms. Stars were born and faded. Inside their glowing hands, no civilization had seen them. For over 12 billion years, every ancient legend, every forgotten myth, had spoken of the architects, the beings who designed the first laws of physics, the creators of the Guardians, the judges of civilizations. One architect slowly turned toward Earth. Its voice echoed through every universe at once. Humanity. Step forward. Silence consumed the galaxy. Captain Elena crossed the empty space alone. She stood before a being older than time itself. The architect looked directly into her eyes. We have observed your species, Wyatt, since the first human looked toward the stars. You were tested. You were threatened. You were protected. But never once. Did we interfere with your choices? Elena asked quietly. Why? The architect answered. Because freedom cannot be created. It must be earned. Before anyone could speak again, a crimson pulse erupted from the Exile flagship. Imperator Kalor smiled. So the architects finally came. Perfect. He slowly activated an ancient device hidden within his armor. Instantly, every architect turned toward him for the first time. Their expressions changed, not to anger, to shock. The Guardian commander whispered, he found the Genesis core, the only weapon capable of killing an architect. Across the galaxy, the final chapter of creation was about to begin. Every Guardian immediately raised their shields, every architect stepped forward. Yet, no one attacked. The crimson sphere floating beside Imperator Kalor wasn't simply a weapon. It was older than the architects themselves. The Genesis core, the first source of creation, according to ancient history, the architects had used it only once, to ignite the first stars. Then they sealed it forever, because they discovered something terrifying. The same force that could create existence could also erase it. Imperator Kalor slowly placed his hand upon the core. Crimson light spread across the battlefield. Entire constellations flickered, even time itself seemed unstable. The architects remained perfectly still. Captain Elena looked toward the nearest Guardian. Why don't they stop him? The Guardian answered quietly, because if the Genesis core becomes unstable, it won't destroy one fleet. It will erase every reality connected to this universe. The battlefield had become a prison. No one could attack. No one could retreat. Kaelor laughed. For billions of years, you ruled through balance. I will rule through fear. He lifted the Genesis core above his head. The core answered. Reality began breaking apart. Tiny fractures appeared across space. World after world watched the sky crack open. Children looked upward, stars disappeared, entire galaxies trembled. For the first time, the architects looked uncertain. Captain Elena suddenly remembered something. The Guardian's promise, the architect's words, and humanity's greatest strength. Not superior weapons, not ancient technology, but the ability to find another solution. She stepped forward. Everyone shouted for her to stop. She ignored them, walking directly toward Kaelor, toward the Genesis core, toward the only object in existence, capable of ending creation itself. Kaelor smiled. Another human sacrifice? Elena calmly shook her head. No. I'm here to fix what you broke. The Genesis core suddenly changed color. The crimson light flickered. Then, for the first time in 12 billion years, the core responded. To a human, the architects stared in disbelief. One quietly whispered, Impossible. It has accepted her. The battlefield became silent. The crimson light surrounding the Genesis core slowly faded. Blue and golden energy replaced it. The core wasn't resisting humanity. It was recognizing humanity. Imperator Kaelor stepped backward. This is impossible. It obeys only its creators. Captain Elena gently placed her hand on the glowing surface. The core answered with a soft pulse. Then, an ancient voice echoed across every galaxy, not from the architects, not from the Guardians, from the Genesis core itself. Creation was never meant to belong to rulers. It belongs to those who protect life. Memories flooded every screen across the galaxy. Billions of years earlier, the architects had not built the Genesis core. They had discovered it. The core itself had chosen them, because they promised to create life instead of controlling it. When some architects sought domination, the core rejected them. The Exiles became the fallen. History had repeated itself. Now, the core had made another choice. It had chosen humanity. Imperator Kaelor screamed in fury and reached for the core, the moment his hand touched its surface. The crimson energy vanished. His weapons shut down. His fleet lost power. One by one, every exile warship became silent, not destroyed, simply deactivated. The core refused to serve those who ruled through fear. The largest architect stepped toward Captain Elena. For the first time in 12 billion years, it bowed, then every guardian bowed beside it, across the galaxy. Billions watched in disbelief. The oldest civilizations in existence were honoring humanity. The architect spoke. The Guardians protected your future. We tested your wisdom. Today, the Genesis core has made its judgment. Humanity is now the first guardian of the next age. As the Genesis core rose above Earth, its light spread across the stars, broken worlds were restored, dead suns reignited, ancient gateways reopened. The galaxy wasn't rebuilt through war. It was healed through hope. History would remember one simple truth. The Galactic Council believed power came from authority. The Exiles believed power came from fear. Humanity proved. True power belongs to those who build, protect, and unite. And from that day forward, whenever a young civilization looked up at the star, they no longer asked, "Who rules the galaxy?" They asked, "Will humanity come if we need help?" The answer echoed across the universe. Always. Earth was never protected because it was the strongest. It was protected because it represented hope for the future. If you enjoyed this HFY story, subscribe to Irongeist HFY, leave a like, and tell us in the comments. What would you do if the Guardians appeared above Earth tomorrow? Until next time, keep looking toward the stars.